Imagine a very familiar scene. You walk into a coffee shop, and the barista smiles and hands you a small sample of a new pastry, saying, "Would you like to try a free sample?" You try it and think it tastes pretty good. But what really makes you feel embarrassed to leave empty handed may not be the flavor itself. It may be a subtle psychological burden. They gave me something, so shouldn't I buy something in return? These moments may seem small, but behind them lies the same question. What exactly makes one person say yes to another? Hello everyone, I'm Manya. Welcome to Life Wisdom. Today we're going to talk about Robert Cialdini's classic book, Influence. This book is like a psychological map of the shortcuts behind human decision making. As a social psychologist, Cialdini personally went undercover in persuasion industries such as telemarketing, car sales, fundraising organizations, and advertising agencies, observing what methods were being used by the people who were best at getting others to say yes. In the end, he summarized 7 major principles that influence human compliance and decision making: reciprocity, liking, social proof, authority, scarcity, commitment and consistency, and unity. In today's episode, we'll take a deep look at these 7 principles. You'll understand how we are influenced by others and how we can make decisions more consciously with less manipulation and more agency. At the beginning of influence, Cialdini points out that many times we don't make decisions after full and careful analysis. Instead, we are triggered by a certain signal and then automatically enter a preset behavioral pattern. For example, when we see something is expensive, we automatically associate it with good quality. When we see expert recommended, we automatically feel it is more reliable. When we see everyone is buying it, we automatically assume it can't be wrong. When we receive a gift from someone, we automatically feel we should return the favor. When an opportunity is about to disappear, we automatically think, "I need to grab it quickly." When we have said something publicly, we automatically think, "I need to stay consistent." These psychological shortcuts are not bad in themselves. They are tools that help us survive in a complex world. We live in an age of information overload and life moves fast. You can't research every ingredient before buying a tube of toothpaste. You can't conduct a nutritional analysis every time you order a meal. Our brains have to use shortcuts. Otherwise, daily life alone would be enough to paralyze us. But the problem is this: shortcuts can help us save time, but they can also be used against us. There is a very interesting example in the book. A batch of turquoise jewelry was not selling well, so the store owner wanted to mark it down by half. She wrote a note asking an employee to handle it, but the employee mistakenly read "multiply the price by one half" as "multiply the price by two," in other words, doubling the price. Unexpectedly, after the price increase, the jewelry sold out. Why? Because the customers didn't understand turquoise, so they relied on a familiar rule of thumb: expensive equals good. This is the core of influence. Human beings are often not persuaded by complete facts, but triggered by a key cue. Today, these triggering cues are everywhere: 5-star reviews, verified blue check marks, doctor recommendations, viral bestsellers. Today only, your friend has joined. 3,284 people are currently viewing this item. So, the first psychological ability we should cultivate is this. At key moments, pause and ask yourself, do I truly want this? Or have I simply been triggered by a signal? This is not about becoming suspicious of everything. It is about taking back your power of choice. After understanding the underlying logic of influence, let's move on to the first principle Cialdini discusses, reciprocity. The core of the reciprocity principle is this. When someone gives us something of value, we feel an urge to give something back. This sounds like a virtue. In fact, reciprocity truly is one of the foundations that allows human society to cooperate. Without reciprocity, there is no trust. Without trust, there are no long term relationships. Friends helping each other, neighbors looking out for one another, countries exchanging favors, and in the business world, free trials, gifts, and service experiences. All of these depend on reciprocity at their core. This principle allows human beings to form a kind of credit network where debts are expected to be repaid. You help me today, I help you tomorrow. Because people believe that giving will not be completely wasted, cooperation can expand, and society can become more complex and orderly. But the problem is that reciprocity can also be easily exploited. Why do businesses like offering free samples? Why do surveys sometimes come with a small gift card? Why do salespeople first give you a free trial before making a pitch? Because once you accept a gift, you may develop a sense of indebtedness. There is a painful saying, nothing is more expensive than something free. For example, many apps are free, but the price is your attention and time. Much content is free, but behind it are ads, algorithms, and subtle nudges to consume. Many brands first attract you with a low barrier to entry and then gradually push you to upgrade, renew, and purchase packages. So, how can we use the principle of reciprocity in our own lives in a healthy way? First, if you want to influence others ethically, begin by giving sincerely. The best marketing is not aggressive selling, but allowing customers to genuinely experience value first. Second, when something is given to you, distinguish between kindness and strategy. If the other person is giving sincerely, of course, we can be grateful and return the favor. But if the so called gift is only meant to create a sense of indebtedness, pushing you toward an irrational concession, commitment, or purchase, then you can redefine it in your mind. This is not a gift, this is a strategy. Once you see this clearly, the psychological pressure created by reciprocity will decrease. The second principle of influence is liking. Cialdini points out most of us are more likely to say yes to requests from people we know and like. For example, we are more willing to try a restaurant recommended by a friend. We are more likely to buy a product recommended by a blogger we like. We are more inclined to trust physically attractive people. We feel closer to people who are similar to us. And we tend to like people who praise us. Cialdini summarized 6 factors that create liking: physical attractiveness, similarity, compliments, familiarity, cooperation, and positive association. Among these, the two we should be especially alert to are similarity and compliments. If a salesperson discovers that you like hiking and then says they also love the outdoors, if they notice you have a dog and immediately say they really love dogs too, if they find out you come from a certain city and quickly mention that they have relatives living there, you may feel this person is quite similar to me. And then your defenses begin to drop. In the online world, this becomes even more obvious. Algorithms keep telling you people like you also like this. Brands use your language and your subculture to make you feel they understand me. Compliments work the same way. We all know some praise may not be sincere, but we are still influenced by it because human beings are naturally eager to be seen and recognized. Many times, people are not persuaded by logic, but pulled by feeling. When you like someone, you are more likely to accept their views. When you dislike someone, even if what they say is true, you may instinctively resist it. If you want to influence others better, don't pretend to be similar or offer fake flattery. Instead, do these three things. First, sincerely look for common ground. Shared experiences, shared goals, and shared challenges can all become entry points for connection. Second, give specific compliments. Don't just say, you're amazing. Say, you explained that complex issue very clearly just now. Specific praise is more credible and more powerful. Third, create a sense of cooperation. Shift from I'm trying to persuade you to we are solving this problem together. If you want to protect yourself, remember Cialdini's defensive strategy. When you notice that you have started liking a requester unusually quickly, separate the person from the request. You can like the person, but still calmly evaluate whether the request itself is worth accepting. You can appreciate a blogger, but that doesn't mean every product they recommend is suitable for you. The third principle is social proof. The core of social proof is this: when we are uncertain about what to do, we look at what others are doing. This is an extremely powerful psychological mechanism. For example, when a restaurant menu marks something as most popular, sales of that dish increase. When a video platform shows everyone is watching this, you are more likely to click. When a hotel says most guests reuse their towels, environmentally friendly behavior increases. The logic behind this is simple. If many people are doing it, then it is probably correct, safe, and worth trying. Social proof is most likely to take effect in three situations. First, when we are uncertain. I don't know what to choose, so I look at what others choose. Second, when many people are doing it. The more people doing something, the more correct it appears. Third, when similar people are doing it. If people like me are doing it, I am more likely to follow. The principle of social proof is especially important in modern society because we live in a world surrounded by likes, reviews, rankings, and shares. We read reviews before buying things. We check ratings before watching movies. We choose restaurants based on how long the line is. We judge opinions by how many times they have been reposted. We even judge whether we are normal by seeing whether other people are the same. But social proof has one danger: it can amplify mistakes. If everyone is watching what everyone else is doing, but no one actually knows the answer, collective misjudgment can occur. The book mentions that in emergencies, bystanders sometimes do not immediately help, not because they are cold hearted, but because everyone is observing everyone else. If others aren't moving, I assume nothing serious is happening. If I don't move, others also assume nothing serious is happening. So everyone remains still. That is why, if you encounter danger in a public place, don't just vaguely shout, "Help!" A more effective approach is to point to a specific person and say, "Sir in the blue jacket, please call an ambulance." This sentence is effective because it breaks through bystanders' uncertainty and makes responsibility specific. Social proof also offers important lessons for public communication. If you want to advocate for positive behavior, don't say too many people are littering or too many people are breaking the rules, because this unintentionally sends a message. So many people are already doing it. A better approach is to emphasize positive norms, such as more and more people are starting to bring their own water bottles. More and more colleagues are choosing to submit feedback on time. The principle of social proof reminds us: don't mistake popularity for truth. Don't mistake trends for value. Don't mistake the majority for correctness. Before making a decision, ask yourself, are these reviews real? Are these people truly similar to me in their needs? If there were no likes or sales numbers, would I still choose this? Of course, you can refer to the majority, but don't hand your judgment completely over to the crowd. If you also want to keep improving your judgment and become less easily swayed by emotions and persuasion tactics, feel free to hit the subscribe button now. That way, you won't miss future content on psychology, thinking patterns, and personal growth. The fourth principle is authority. From a young age, human beings are trained to respect authority. Parents, teachers, doctors, experts, laws, institutions, and so on. This principle has tremendous value. Without authority, we could not learn efficiently. Without professional specialization, modern society could not function. But the problem is that sometimes we are not listening to an authority's reasoning. Instead, we are triggered by the symbols of authority. For example, titles, uniforms, white coats, awards, academic degrees, institutional endorsements, data charts, jargon, certification labels. These symbols make us think this person must know what they're talking about, but symbols are not the same as competence. The book mentions that people easily assume experts must be right. However, a truly mature approach is not to reject authority, but to verify authority. You can ask three questions. First, is this person truly an expert in this field? A famous person is not necessarily professional in every area. Second, are their interests independent? Are they offering advice, or are they selling a product? Are they analyzing facts or promoting a particular agenda? Third, do they have professional boundaries? A truly trustworthy authority usually does not pretend to know everything. Cialdini especially emphasizes that credible authorities sometimes voluntarily reveal their own limitations, because honestly, admitting limitations can actually increase trust. The fifth principle is scarcity. Human beings are especially sensitive to things that are about to be lost. For example, limited edition, last day, only one spot left, miss it and it's gone forever. Countdown, 10 minutes. Why are these statements effective? Because they trigger our loss aversion. The book emphasizes that the pain of loss is often greater than the pleasure of gain. For example, you may not have wanted a piece of clothing that much at first, but when the salesperson says, "This is the last one," it suddenly becomes important. You may not have been that eager to sign up for a course, but when the page says registration closes tonight, you start to feel anxious. Scarcity also has a deeper psychological mechanism called reactance. When we are told, "you can't have this," we often want it even more. That is why prohibitions sometimes make restricted things more attractive. The scarcity principle itself is not bad. Real scarcity can certainly be communicated. For example, event spots may truly be limited, or product inventory may genuinely be low. The problem is that fake scarcity creates anxiety and leads people to make impulsive decisions. So, when facing a scarcity signal, we can take one simple action: delay your reaction. When your heart starts racing because something is almost gone, ask yourself, is this truly scarce, or has it been framed as scarce? If it were still available tomorrow, would I still want it? Am I afraid of losing the opportunity, or am I afraid of losing face? The sixth principle is commitment and consistency. Human beings care deeply about consistency. We want to appear reliable and consistent in our words and actions. So once we make a public commitment, we are more likely to continue acting in that direction. This principle has a positive side. For example, if you want to build an exercise habit, you can first make a small commitment. Run for 20 minutes every day. If you want to improve your writing, you can publicly tell your friends, "I will write one article every week." If a team wants to move a project forward, everyone can write down their own action plan. The more specific, active, public, and effortful a commitment is, the more powerful it becomes. However, commitment and consistency can also be misused. Many sales strategies first get you to agree to a very small request, then gradually escalate it. For example, first they get you to join a free trial, then buy an entry level package, then upgrade to a long term plan. This is known as the foot in the door effect. Once you take a small first step, it becomes harder to withdraw later. Even more subtly, we often stick with a decision that no longer suits us simply to prove that our past self was right. For example, a relationship is clearly causing you pain, but you say, "We've been together for so long." A job is clearly draining you, but you say, "I've already invested so many years in it." The logic behind an investment has clearly changed, but you say, "let's wait a bit longer. I can't admit defeat now." At that point, consistency is no longer a principle, it becomes a cage. Cialdini reminds us to ask ourselves one question. If I could go back to the beginning, knowing what I know now, would I still make the same choice? For example, if I could start over, would I still accept this way of interacting? If I could choose again, would I still take on this task? If I hadn't already spent the money, would I still continue paying? Maturity is not about staying consistent forever. Maturity is having the courage to admit that past commitments may no longer serve your current goals. Next, let's talk about the seventh principle of influence, unity. Unity is a deeper connection than liking. Liking means I appreciate you. Unity means I feel that you and I are on the same side. Family members, people from the same hometown, alumni, members of the same team, believers in the same faith, people with the same identity, and those who have gone through hardship together are all more likely to experience a sense of unity. Cialdini says that we is an expanded version of me. When we see others as part of us, their honor feels like our honor, and their pain becomes easier for us to feel. This is why many companies place great importance on team building. A truly good team is not only about clear division of labor, it also needs the feeling that we are doing something together. Another example is when couples argue. A more mature attitude than you're wrong and I'm right is we are facing this problem together, not why are you like this again, but how can we avoid repeating this pattern? The same is true in the workplace. If a leader only says you need to achieve the target, the sense of unity is weak. But if the leader says we are working together to accomplish something valuable, unity becomes much stronger. However, unity also has a dangerous side. Once we becomes narrow, it can turn into us versus them. Sometimes people ignore moral judgment or even tolerate wrongdoing in order to protect their own group. That is why the more an organization emphasizes we are one family, the more it needs clear ethical boundaries. Truly mature unity is not exclusion, but cooperation. Truly healthy loyalty is not covering up for insiders, but jointly upholding a higher standard. So, the principle of unity reminds us, say more often, how can we solve this together? Create more shared goals and shared contributions. Try to expand the boundaries of we. Do not let loyalty rise above honesty. Look for common ground first, then discuss differences. If the other principles of influence are like tools, then unity is like soil. When the soil is healthy, influence grows into trust. When the soil is rotten, influence grows into manipulation. The book Influence is not teaching us how to become better at controlling others. Instead, it helps us realize that every day we are influencing others and every day we are being influenced by others. Influence itself is not evil. The key question is, are you using it to help others make better decisions, or are you using it to get others to make decisions that benefit you but may not benefit them? This is the ethical boundary. So, when you use influence, ask yourself three questions. 1. Is the information I provide true? 2. After fully understanding it, would the other person still believe this decision is beneficial to them? 3. If my method were made public, would I feel ashamed? If the answers are true, beneficial, and not shameful, then you are most likely engaging in ethical influence. But if you rely on concealment, fabrication, fear, or manipulated indebtedness to achieve your goal, then that is not influence, that is manipulation. Influence reminds us that we often believe we are freely choosing every time, but many times we are simply being triggered by a psychological button. Reciprocity makes us want to repay. Liking lowers our defenses. Social proof makes us follow the crowd. Authority makes us stop questioning. Scarcity makes us fear missing out. Commitment and consistency make us unwilling to turn back. Unity makes us willing to act for us. These mechanisms are not shameful. They are part of being human. What truly matters is whether we can consciously notice them and respond to them. Finally, I've prepared an influence awareness exercise for you. Starting today, for 7 consecutive days, spend 3 minutes every evening reviewing one decision you made that day. Then ask yourself 7 questions. 1. Did I feel embarrassed to refuse because someone gave me something first? 2. Did I ignore the matter itself because I liked a certain person? 3. Did I follow along simply because everyone else was doing it? 4. Was I influenced by titles, identity, packaging, or uniforms? 5. Did I make an impulsive choice because I was afraid of missing out? 6. Did I continue with a decision that actually needed adjustment just to stay consistent? 7. Did I relax my moral judgment because I felt we are on the same side? There is no need to blame yourself. Awareness is not self criticism, it is a way of taking the steering wheel back into your own hands. Thanks for listening. If this episode gave you some inspiration, feel free to like and subscribe. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which influence button has triggered you most recently? May we all influence others with greater awareness, and may we also make our own choices with more clarity, freedom, and intention. I'm Manya. See you next time.